Hey, this is Dan. Look, this is a reasonably serious video and ChatGPT's recommended that I put a disclaimer, which is a wise move. So, quick note guys, before we begin this video, this talks honestly about breakups and some dark places men end up mentally. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or having thoughts of hurting yourself, please pause this video and reach out to someone you trust or a professional in your area. You matter and support is available. So this video is about choosing life, strength, and moving forward. I've just come out of a really tough breakup. I'm in my second week now. There is a light at the tunnel, and I've got some stories here that hopefully will help you. And feel free to reach out to myself as well. God bless you, brother. Hey, brother, this is Dan. Look, if you're going through a breakup, my heart goes out to you. Wow, it's a hell of a thing. It's a massive event. And I want to really put across my compassion to you and a lot of understanding. I'm an older man, I'm 39 right now. Next year I'll be 40. And I'm here with this little dude. We've given him a number of different names, my ex and I. She moved out a week ago, like Monday, it's Thursday now, so coming up 2 weeks. And it was hell. And it's quite interesting because my dear friend Troya, over in Romania, he jumped out of a similar window to this. Like same story, fourth story. So it's pretty high, right, dude? Yeah, careful. So if you're on the ledge, firstly, I want to say absolutely fuck that. Watch your drinking, watch drug use, be really, really careful and watch your thoughts. That is not an option. I think you know what that is. I can't say on YouTube, right? And I'm just thinking about my friend. Do I really care as far as have a cry about the guy while he's gone, right? And it was over a woman. Absolutely disgusting, right? Losing your life over a woman. Gentlemen, we look like Sean Connery as we get older, and so do women. Even my girlfriend, she's 21, right? Ex-girlfriend now, she's 21. She's going to age like milk, and we are going to age like fine wine. I want to really encourage you with this, right? Like Andrew Tate says, with a breakup, they break and we go up. What caught me a little bit by surprise was she handled it so well. Like, I cried a little bit, had a few tears in my eyes as she was leaving. It was a little bit emotional for me. I waved her goodbye on the bus to the other side of the country. I had some tears, I had some emotion, right? I carried on, but I had some emotion. I can't lie and say I was some tough guy and just water off a duck's back. No, I really, really loved this girl and still have love for this girl. But a week later, or 2 weeks, I have this wonderful peace, clarity. Life is going really, really well. There's an idea from Dr. DeMartini. How you have support and you have challenge. So there's support, there's challenge. There's challenge and there's support. So lean into where you have support. Yes, there's challenge. This woman's just left you. Maybe she's cheated on you. Maybe she's with another man. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's on the other side of the country, like with my ex. There's a lot of ambiguity. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know at all what, there's a door closed. Even though we did things a little bit different and we're trying to carry on as friends, and she gave me a lot of closure, which I didn't expect. And that made it a little bit easier. But, you're not going to know what the woman's up to. And so obviously the focus has to go to yourself and getting your own life on track. Maybe like me, you've been simping on your pimping, slacking on your macking. So it's time to start putting that love, putting that focus on yourself. And we hear this stuff about loving yourself, and it can come across a bit woo-woo and a bit, some of these things are a bit, I get it, but you really do need to start loving yourself, doubling down on yourself, being kind to yourself, especially that first week or two or however long it takes, because I see a lot of guys get messed up. We get messed up, you guys, right? And so, like I said, I want to have a lot of compassion, a lot of understanding. Look, hit me up if you want. If you're on the edge, hit me up. I'll make sure my contact's available. Happy to jump on a Zoom or however you want to connect, guys, because this I take really seriously. I've had a number of friends really do their lives over many different ways over a woman, right? And you hear these pimps talk, they're like, over a bitch, and they've got a point. You know, I love this idea from David D'Angelo back in the day, or Eben Pagan, you may know. So he talked about how this woman you're focusing on now, probably have got one-itis like I had, there's another woman behind her, right? There's 4 billion women in the world. There's a lot of different women. So start to focus on, loosely, the next woman behind her. Because for me, one thing I'm thinking for the next woman, I'd love just a positive woman. I don't want to talk shit about my ex, but she got especially very dark towards the end. And I'm just looking forward to a reasonably positive woman. So that's a pretty easy one for me going forward. It's like, okay, I can just ask even on the first few interactions, hey, are you a reasonably positive person about life? Or are you more a negative person? So my ex was super, super negative, which is fine. Opposites attract, I'm very positive. But having a negative person in your life, this is what's really coming to my mind now, is a lot of the things I was not happy about with her. And if you think now, I'm sure there's a number of things you weren't happy about your ex, especially if she left you. She probably was kicking ass before she left. So there's a few things to think about here. There's a lot of things to think about here. What tools do we have to use? So I put a lot of information into ChatGPT, and that really helped me a lot. I opened up about what's going on for me. I had a lot going on in my stomach. I had this horrible churning in my stomach. And you may have something going on in your body, maybe in your chest or in your stomach. I had a lot in my chest too, funny, almost like my heart was going to explode. And I had a lot of energy and motion, right? Emotion. So I was doing as much as I could to breathe it out. Meditation basically, but not really deep meditation, but pretty chill, because I didn't really want to really go deep at that time, especially that last week, right? So I could not eat. Now, a friend of mine, he's a bit on the fat side, and he's 120 kgs. So whatever that is in pounds for you American guys, but he's fat, right? And so he's doing a 30-day fast or a 40-day fast. So I've been doing some videos with him, and then that made me think, well, shit, I want to lose a little bit of belly fat. I had a little bit of fat down here. And so I wanted to lose some of that. So I'm a bit more lean now. So I've got my lower abs coming through. So that's great. And I was pretty shit for money. Luckily, my ex left me like $50 for a pack of smokes, and then I had to bring some money in. And that was really, really challenging, because through Christmas, I work in finance, so my games are a bit challenging. So I didn't really have a lot of money, and I thought, hey, I'll just not eat as much. Lose some of the fat. And then, thinking about my friend who goes 30 days, I knew I'd be okay. So it was about the 5th day I started eating again a bit, or I was getting a little bit in here and there, but not much. And I didn't worry much about that. I think maybe level 10, I do a lot of meditation, I want to talk a lot more about that on this channel. And I went through a hell of an experience about 2 years, just before my girlfriend, 2.5 years ago. And so I went through a dark night of the soul, which was really crazy. So like 3 weeks where I was just in agony. And I went through this dark night. I've never been the same since. I've been a lot more loving since. That really changed me a lot. So I'm a big advocate for meditation. I remember around that time, I did an 8-hour meditation in a row, like a whole 8 hours in a row, which is pretty crazy. I started shaking a bit, and lots of changes were happening with me. So maybe level 10 would be some deep meditation and not drinking, no vices like smoking even. I really leaned on smoking. No womanizing sort of thing. Maybe that'd be level 10. But ChatGPT doesn't advise it, and you can disassociate, and it's pretty hard on you. That would be pretty incredible if you could just meditate through. Or
if you're a real gangster, I mean, maybe there's levels to being a man where you just feel nothing maybe, but I haven't got there yet. And I'm a big advocate for feeling things, right? I mean, there's a lot around, say, crying, how we have these ideas like being a pussy or being a bitch, but I have no problem with crying. I didn't cry that much, but I cried a little bit here and there. Even random things made me cry, like I'm a bit behind on some of my bills, and I saw a message from my landlord, and I was like, hey, sorry man, I'm catching up. And he said, no worries, and just that compassion he's showing me, that made me cry. And so that was really nice. And then I ran out of smokes the other day. I was waiting for some money to come through. And I met a guy just around the corner here, an older guy. And I said, hey, a vet cigarette, which is like, do you ever smoke, dude? And he goes, no, but he had a little bit of money. And he went with me to this bar here, and he bought me a smoke, and he bought himself a smoke. So he only had $2, and he spent one for me, one for him. It's such a lovely experience. You know, it's such a good example of being looked after. I've had my good friend Adrian, who's a gypsy guy or Sagan, and he's really been amazing. Like, he's been around almost every day, catching up with me, shouting me smokes. He bought me some food even, taking me around where I need to go. I've got some stuff in the pawn shop. I've got some Louis Vuitton bags in the pawn shop, and he came with me and made sure I was okay with that. And funnily enough, my ex missed these Louis Vuitton shoes, which are really, really special to me, so I nearly lost those. So that was a little bit scary. And this leads well into leaning on women, right? So as much as women use us, there's a lot of talk about this, women using us, blah, blah. If we look at Mother Nature, if I go out now, it's like -1 degrees because of the snow. It's actually a little bit warmer because it snowed last night, but it's been -10 say at night. So Mother Nature will fuck us up, right? Mother Nature will kill us, but also Mother Nature will heal us. So I like to have women in my life and lean on women in my life to nurture me and for support. So funnily enough, I contacted my ex-wife. She sent me some money, which is surprising. But I suppose all the times I've helped her, she's helped me a bit. And then leaning on other women I know, some are exes, some are clients, some are friends, and just getting around women as much as I can. I'm a little bit isolated here because I'm in Romania, and my ex unfriended every woman on my Facebook, for God's sake, and blocked everyone. So I unblocked a couple and started to get talking to women. So that was really, really handy. If you've got women in your life, lean on women because they're fantastic. Like, when I went through my divorce with my ex, I had another woman within 2 weeks, which was pretty crazy. And I might share a video where they both met each other, which is kind of cool. And just a funny story, like my ex was seeing a man in another city where she lived, and then she came home, and this new woman was on the same bus as her, so they met.
And she's like, Alina, but I didn't feel it because I'm talking to you, and after that she's, hey, how are you, Alina? You're Alina, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I saw her face, and I'm like, remember Victoria?
She's in the middle of like a messaging you on Facebook.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's all about the karma and the life, you know?
Funnily enough, my ex-wife ruined it for me with this woman, but that's fine. So there's lots of things we can do, right? If we focus on circle of influence, circle of control. Obviously, we don't have any control over our ex anymore. We're a fucking joke to them. There's another thing. If we look at from Owen Cook with RSD, he speaks about a negative halo. So when you're going through a breakup, she's going to see you as this biggest piece of shit, right? I remember I sat down with my ex on the last day we talked, and before that, a couple of weeks before, or a month before, I was saying, it's like you don't even like me anymore, let alone love me. And she said, yeah, well, I don't like you, Dad, basically. I didn't take it too seriously, and I said, look, what don't you like about me? Because why not? And she said, I don't like how you laugh. Now listen to this shit. Doesn't like how I laugh even. And basically doesn't like me as a soul, right? Fair enough. So they have to demonize you. I know this about women, they have to demonize you. They have to shit on you. She can't be saying, oh, you're the best thing that's ever fucking happened to me. you know, she's dated some horrible dudes. One guy's in prison for 20 years right now, right? But she's even saying I was abusive, which is absolutely garbage. And, you know, she has to shit on me, right? She has to shit on me to her family. She has to shit on me to her friends. She has to make me the fucking Antichrist, essentially, right? Or whatever it is to you. And that's fine. So being at ease with that, you know, you're not going to get the best out of your ex, right? But it will flip. So over time, it'll start to sink in what a good guy I am. And especially if we can have our trajectory go up, which is already happening for me, because really men hold a lot of power, right? I work in finance. There's not often where I go into a couple's house where the man's not the most dominant in every metric, right? Financially, height, strength, weight, we get all this shit, right? Men are really the asset here in many, many ways, right? But of course women are amazing, but they do hold us back a lot. I mean, maybe there's some exceptions to everything. Some guys are some like pretty boys living with some millionaires. Okay, there's exceptions to everything, but normally you'll be stronger than your ex in a lot of ways. But we get just absolutely fucking blindsided with a separation, right? So if I look back to when I got left by my ex, I remember one day I got home, I had about $40,000 in this apartment. It was in this beautiful apartment, one of the nicest in the city. And she'd stripped everything out of this apartment, except I had a couple of Louis V bags and a couple of things. And I took a photo of my Louis V bag to my new woman who they met. And I made a joke like, hey, at least I got a Louis V bag. Look, money comes and goes. You know, that's something that came across with my ex too. She said something about using me the last year, just garbage. But I said, look, I don't mind being used. Who cares? Use me then. You know, I don't really care. I don't really have too many worries about money. Money comes and goes. Money comes again. I'm an all-in type of guy, so I'm the type of guy if I make 1,000 or 10,000, I bring it all to the table, right? I don't hold back. But you maybe are financially a little bit tussled right now. You're a bit low financially. Don't worry, that can change really quick. Like I've been pulling the plane up in real time. Even this week when I bought it, it's been impressive to me. And so don't worry about money. All that shit works out. If you've got kids involved, this time with my ex, I don't have kids involved. But with my wife, when she left me, I had a son, right? She left me with the son basically 2 years away. She went on the CC, which is all good. So she went all around town, CC. See, that's another thing. Once a woman leaves out my door and she takes her bags and everything, she's gone, that's not my woman anymore in my mind. So this whole cheating garbage or what guy she's with, I don't care. I don't care if she barebacks everyone in town. I don't care what she does. It's not my woman, right? I don't care if she hooks up with my boss, my best friend. I don't care because you'll never know too. She'll never tell you the full story, right? But I had a pretty crazy story where I had my own apartment. There's no benefit here in Romania, so you can't just take a government benefit. So she was starting to look after my son more, and she had an apartment, and we had a business that was going really well. It fell over overnight. These scumbags fled to Dubai. It was in the crypto time, and when Bitcoin dropped from 40 to 20, this business fell over. So I went from one of the richest guys in town to one of the poorest overnight, basically. I turned my car off, had to go walk in the rain to pick my son up from he's going to a private kindy, and so I was saying to her, hey, move into my apartment because I went and got a job pretty quick. And she wouldn't do that. And then her family wouldn't take her. So I said, okay, I meditated for like 2 hours and I realized, hey, Dan, humble yourself. You go move in with her. So I moved in with her. And I had a couple of girls that I was seeing and they asked, hey, where are you staying? I said, oh, with my ex. So that was pretty unattractive, right? But I knew it was the right thing to do. I had to make a few concessions being in Romania and everything. And so one night I went to the bathroom and I could hear her having sex with her new guy, right? She's with this new guy, this absolute degenerate. He even died. He died at 33, so I'm 39. He died a couple of years into their relationship. They got engaged and he was a big vodka drinker and he died at hospital, for God's sake, which is pretty crazy. He went all yellow, died. So, you know, life is fucking incredibly challenging for all of us. Now, I've been through it all, you know, whatever you've been through or you're going through, I'm sure I've been through something similar. And what do you do, right? I mean, funny enough, I didn't really care too much when I heard them having sex. It wasn't my woman, like I said. But I've been cheated on. That was fucking horrific. Like, that was one of the toughest things I've been through. I don't want to talk shit on anyone, but especially when it's a guy that you see as lower than you, right? I know we're all equal in God's eyes, but you know, the idea of a woman cheating on you with a better guy, it's a little bit more palatable. But one of my exes, I won't say who, did cheat on me. She told me later. That was like stabbing me in the heart, right? And that betrayal. And she did it multiple times too. No hard feelings, you know, whatever. We're all human. We all make mistakes, and we all do crazy things, right? Fair enough. That took me, even after a dark night, a lot of meditation, working on myself for years and years, self-development, whatever. That took me like 6 months to pull the plane up out of that. And yeah, that's a whole nother story. I don't even want to go into that actually too much. But wherever you're at, you're going to pull through. You're going to win, right? You're going to win. You need to believe that. Fuck this standing on the ledge stuff. Like my friend Trier who finished himself. So actually, he jumped out over a woman. He didn't die. And he doesn't remember it. And he survived, right? Horror story. And I saw him just before Christmas, and I said, man, it's like looking at a fucking miracle seeing you, dude. And he carried on. He didn't have a lot of time for me, wherever he's going. And he did it again. I think it was over the same woman as well. Such a loss, such a tragedy. I don't think he has kids, thank God. See, if you've got kids, then it's definitely not an option. But to finish your life is absolutely the weakest shit. It's a paradox because I get that it's strong in some ways to kill yourself. Like you look at the samurai committing seppuku, they call it, right? With the Ronin and things, that movie, there's some real strength to it as well, right? Like stabbing yourself in the stomach, and it's fucking crazy. But it's also a very, very weak thing to me. Horribly weak. And you're shitting on people around you, your family. Like if I finish myself off, what it does to my friends, what it does to my family, the people that I love the most, like people that I only want the best for. And then all the good experiences, like, man, even today was amazing. And it's only halfway through the day. And maybe I can help you, right? Maybe my story can hopefully resonate with you, and even if it's 1%, that's why I want to do this video, because even if it's 1% to help you, then that means my life has some meaning, right? We have to create meaning in our life, and a lot of it's about giving. As me, and a lot of it's about giving, right? I like the idea of penetrating the world. You don't want to be a soft, you know what, and you don't want to be a pussy and get penetrated by the world. You want to penetrate the world. So that's what I'm all about. That's what this channel is all about. How do we get strong in a true and sincere way? See, the other thing that's worth talking about is I had 2 years with my ex who's just gone. And I'm looking back, there's some things I could have done better. That's a normal thing for us to do. We look back, hey, what could I have done better? But I set the bar pretty high, right? And she's not one to say thank you a lot, but she said thank you to me. And it brought tears to my eyes because she very rarely says thank you. So that was really nice. And I did make her life better, I know that. And I'm always going to have a place in her heart. And I know that. And I'm always going to be someone in her life. So the more we evolve, the harder it is for this to happen for women. And who knows, let's say we reconnect in years, but see, I'm in a place now where it's like, why would I go back after some of the things that happened? It'd be hard for me to go back now. And that's another thing. I had in my mind last week, like anything to get back and to get back to what we had. A lot of that's fantasy, a lot of that's emotion, a lot of that's arbitrary because she has to make the decision too, right? She has to really make this. It's not my decision because she really was the one to initiate. So when it's the case like that, which often it is for men, especially like with a young, beautiful woman like I was with, you know, it's a tough one because if I want to get back, it's nothing to do with me. And so you might be in the same boat. If you left her, I've heard it's a lot easier to get back. I mean, you're a tough guy. You left her, bravo. Maybe you can take her back, reset it. There's always exceptions to every rule. See, I'm all for spirituality, which is non-dual. So nothing's black and white, right? There's lots of grays. And who knows where you're at? Who knows what your situation is? If you do an inventory of where you are as a guy too, like how attractive are you? Where are you at with your career? All this stuff's worth looking at. So there's a few things I've got going for me that might be different to you. There's a few things you might have that are a strength on what I have. So, you know, there's some things that have been definitely keeping me weak, like being in Romania has been really weakening me in a lot of ways. So I'm looking now, moving back to New Zealand. I've got a son there, I've got a lot of connections there. So funnily enough, one of my friends, because I'm tapped out financially, and so one of my friends said, hey, fuck it, I'll pay for your flight. And I said to him, well, I've got some bills to pay, I've got some stuff to pull out of the pawn shop. And he said, fuck it, well, how much is that? And he said, I'll send you the whole amount. So this leads into another thing. When I left New Zealand, I kept in touch with a lot of my friends. This one friend came to Romania to see me with his wife, funnily enough, the same guy. So I'm going to move and live with him. Another friend I've kept in touch with, I've really helped him a lot over the years. He's gone through some horrific breakups, talked to me, and he was on the edge a couple of times, he said to me. And he's going through some health challenges now, and so when I land, I haven't got a car, my ex ruined my, credit a little bit, so I'm in a pretty low place in some ways. But my friend said, hey, I've got a Maserati truck. We went and bought this beautiful Maserati truck, a white one. And he said, you can drive around in that till you get on your feet. So this is what I'm talking about with support, you guys. I mean, 1 minute I'm in Romania, broke as a joke, just getting by. The next I'm in New Zealand, working back in finance. I'm in a mansion, basically looking over the sea. And I'll show you guys when I land, right? And then I might have this Maserati to hoon around it. And or I can get finance and I want to get something cool, I want to get a BMW or something. And so, you know, it's not about revenge or being a scrub and like trying to get one over my ex, anything like that. To me, that's really weak, and I'm not going to live for my ex. But, you know, she's going to see that. She's going to see the lifestyle I walk into. I'm walking into a job that's like 100,000 a year, just a salary. See, that's another thing. I worked really hard in the past, and that's why life's a lot easier for me now. I worked on sales a lot. I worked in finance. Been in finance for over a decade. I built $1 million business in that, and I sold it for 6 figures, so low 6 figures. So I'm proud of that. And my wins I'm proud of. The man I've become I'm proud of. And you should be the same. Look, take an inventory of all the wins you've had, even if they're really small, or if they're big, right? There's always going to be another woman. So I think there's 3 roads we can go. We can go down, which fuck that, because for your sake. We can stay the same, fuck that as well, or we can go up. So we've really only got one choice, right? But at the same time, have a lot of compassion for yourself. Have a lot of understanding for yourself. You know, if you're a smoker, have a couple of darts, who cares, right? If you're a drinker, have a couple of drinks. Try not to drink too much though. Because drink, I think, really fucks people up. And a lot of people do some stupid stuff on drink. You know, head up your ex late at night, that sort of thing. Be careful with the drink. But be kind to yourself. For me, it's been having a bit more of a longer shower, a few showers, more than I normally have. Start to groom yourself, like I cut my hair because I've been a bit shit for the money to get a nice haircut, but I'm keeping my costs down. And so, you know, pull out the inventory, go to the war chest. What have you got in that, right? Because if you've got a full war chest, even better. I don't know about the whole running in with other women. You know, guys are seeing ladies in the night, whatever, no judgment. For me, where I'm at, I'm really comfortable just chilling and just relaxing for a little bit. But see, that's another one. Even looking at women on the internet, I don't think there's too much of a problem with that. I would recommend do carezza where you don't finish, because you keep your energy really high, even if you're looking at women online or whatever you're doing, or you're with a woman. Try not to finish too much if you can. And I'll do a video about carezza because that's been a game changer. I picked that up from Will Freeman at Revolutionary Lifestyle Design. He was talking about it way back in the day. And I wish I picked up on it sooner. Take carezza seriously, guys, or tantra. Fucking amazing. And then take an inventory of your body. That's another key. So for me, I don't like that little fat around my tummy. I was doing sit-ups and things, didn't really help. So losing some fat helped, and then I'm going to double down on my fitness. I funnily enough started doing that before I went through the breakup, because what I found was my girlfriend was kicking ass, my ex-girlfriend was kicking ass. And so I realized I was feeling really powerless. I was like, fuck, she's like going nuts at me. She's shitting on me every day, starting arguments over everything, rolling her fucking eyes, huffing and puffing, everything's wrong, everything's shit. And so I really felt powerless from that, right? Having this unhappy woman, I really felt powerless. And so I started to take an inventory. Okay, I said, Dan, you feel powerless. What can you do now and today to feel more powerful? So that's where I was already on the road with Corrett's. I was like, hey, well, this is making me feel more powerful. Because when I finish to some stuff online or whatever, I'm then having to sleep for a couple of hours, or I'm just really lethargic. So I thought, fuck. So I did this Corrett's where I'm not finishing. Then I pushed through my lust where I'm not really that worried about. Like I'd watch stuff online long enough till I didn't even care. And then I was more loving with her and I had more energy for her. But that kind of sparked us up in a negative way too, because she didn't really like that, because I think it threw in her control, right? Because now I was getting my balls back. And so that also sparked up things. And that's what Corrett's will do too. And maybe that highlights that she wasn't meant to be too. So that was interesting. And then I did a list. How can I feel more powerful? So one was starting to work out. Now, I've been a bit shit for the money, so gym's not really a road for me that I can see right now. So I thought, okay, well, I went to this outside gym, did some running. That really helped me a lot, dressing a bit better. And grooming myself a little bit better. As I'm getting old now, getting little hairs in my ear, little like shitty hairs around my face I was plucking, like getting my eyebrows plucked. Little things, right? Cleaning my glasses nice, whatever. All these little things you can do to feel more powerful rather than feeling powerless. None of us want to feel powerless, we want to feel powerful. So what can you do now? Take an inventory, maybe work with ChatGPT as well. What can you do to feel more powerful? Especially going through a breakup like this. But hey, maybe you've got to sit around and chill too. Maybe you've got to fucking lie around, no judgment, whatever you've got to do, right? Be kind to yourself. I did a bit of that too, watching a lot of YouTube videos. There's a fantastic one I found from Jordan Peterson about letting go of a woman. I found a lot from Will from Revolutionary Lifestyle Design. He's got some great breakup advice. And he comes in a real powerful way, because he's coming in later on and he left his woman and he's cheating on her heaps. It's pretty gangster what Will was up to, but I definitely wasn't in that situation. But he was a great road. And then a lot of pickup artists like Julian Blanc has some fantastic stuff. Owen Cook from Revolutionary Lifestyle Design, from RLD or RSD. David Bond was really good. I really like David Bond. A lot of these pickup artists know a lot of some incredible stuff. And who else? Oh, there's this really cool guy I found. I might actually try and link him up, because he had some unbelievable advice about how we're really attaching. And so if we look at the idea like you're a full person and then she's a full person, you're having a relationship together. But often we are, even if we advance a lot, we're a half and half. So when, like that yin and yang, right? And when I broke with my girlfriend, I really felt that break, right? And that's why my emotions were all fucked up, and whatever was going on for me. And there's no longer the smell of her in the house. I'm not cuddling her at night. I'm not intimate with her anymore. I didn't have anyone to talk to. There's a lot that's now gone from your life. So you will feel that lack unless you're really on another level.